What's going on, guys? Welcome to another chapter chatter here with Ben. What's going on, man?
What's going on, dude? It's been a while.
It has.
It's been
You
feels
had a
like
good.
forever, dude. Like it goes by quick.
It does. But you had a good vacation.
It's been great.
Good.
No complaints. So let's jump right in, man. Relentless. Another chapter chatter. Relentless, guys. Back to the normal setting. And yeah, man, what'd you get from this chapter? I know that you probably already finished the book, I'm assuming.
Yeah, multiple times.
Okay. So what did you get from this one?
This one was. This one had me thinking. The whole chapter. I listened to it last night again. Re-listened to it this morning on my way here, and while I was finishing up at the gym, and I'm like, I can't decide if it's pressure, fear, or just get it done. There was another word for it, but it's not on my mind. I thought about it right as I was coming up the hill here.
Okay.
Figure it out was kind of the end result that I came up with. So I'm like, that's the nearest I can come up with for this chapter is figure it out. What about you?
So I wrote the same. So I put figured it out and ownership.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Those are the two things that I got. And the figured out, I love his story about his dad.
Yes.
And I like how he correlates like the experiences that he's been through to help him be relentless or that help him kind of figure things out in his life to prioritize his life. So I think the story that he talks about is his dad and how the one that really I liked was the one where he's in a cab.
Yep.
Their cat's in a cab and it's like an adventure to us. Well, long story short, they didn't have enough money for the full ride, so they got out at a certain point and walked the rest with luggage. And he remembers like you just figure it out, like it just gets figured out, like no matter what. And so, yeah, that story to me was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna as soon as you start talking, that was one of mine too. That was the story that I'm like, this is just a pure, simple. They wanted a better life. If you really think about it, like I didn't realize he was born in London until I was reading this. Because I never think about that when it comes to anybody, like where they're born, where they came from. Like I just, he seems like a really awesome guy. But yeah, born in London, and then they decided to move the mom out here, and yeah, I was like, that's something, and that's not something. I like that he didn't tell the boys that until later, that it was just, hey, we're going on an adventure to see the city. That's all we're doing, going on an adventure, rather than, well, we don't have any money, we gotta walk. Because I think, as a mindset, that changes your mindset as a kid. That you're like, oh man, now I have to do this, rather than, I got to go on this adventure through the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I got to pull my luggage, but I got to go on this grand adventure through the city, see stuff. I like the way his dad did that, figure it out type thing, or like, well, I don't have a choice. Back in his era, it was probably more okay to bring your kids to work. But I liked that it was like, well, they didn't have anybody. They figured it out. I went to work with them, and then it's like, hey, well, you're here. You might as well be useful to me,
Yeah.
Which, I thought that was cool. Like, hey, you're teaching your kids something. Like, this is what I have to do. Granted, I think he had like some degree or something back in London and India, but it doesn't transfer to the U.S. So he's like, well, I figured it out. Got got a job that I could do to help support you guys. Yeah, it might be dismembering bodies because that's, for whatever reason,
Right.
but
That's what I can do right now.
it's what I can do to provide for you guys. So I figure it out. And then, yeah, ownership was one that I kept coming back to too. And this one was how much ownership he has to take. And I got that one from the Dwayne story, I think it was, right there towards the end, where he's talking about how, muscles that he hadn't used for years, and now he's using them, so his speed's different. And it didn't dawn on Grover to say, hey, to adjust his shot or anything to make it account for that extra time. And as soon as he saw it, instantly Grover's like, well, that's my bad.
Yeah.
Nobody would have known. Like, I never would have. I just would have
Yeah.
thought he'd missed the shot. Not, oh, he trained so hard and starts using different muscles that it's throwing his timing off. Like, that's stuff I would never think of. But the ownership of that is huge.
Yeah, I that's the one story that I highlighted here too, which was that same one. And also it just goes back to that. It keeps going back of, take ownership of the mistakes that you make. It's okay to say I messed up or I fucked up. And he says here at the bottom, he says people think admitting mistakes create more pressure because now they're blamed for something. False. The ability to put your hands up and say, "Yep, it's my fault," is the greatest way to stop the pressure. So it's actually the opposite. Actually, where people would think that you have pressure because you're taking ownership, it actually reduces your pressure and allows you to move forward, and it just goes back to the confidence and the amount of belief that you have in your instincts and how you're going to react to a certain situation. It's knowing all that. Yeah, man, this is a really, really good chapter. I stopped reading it. I didn't move forward. I kept reading my other book, but this, I feel like every time we pick it back up,
You find
it
something new.
starts flowing everything in. So, which a lot of books you read, they'll flow in well together, but the way that he laid it out and the way he relates back to his own stories, even like I said, the father thing was cool because I can relate to that. Like I feel like you can make anything, you can show a lesson in anything.
Yeah.
In your day-to-day life and especially with your kids. And it's like that, telling that story, and they might see it a totally different way until they grow up and like, oh man, my mom and dad, that's not really I remember wasn't what it was. There was actually a hard moment, but it was dealt with a different way. You know what I mean? It's that perspective. It's that mindset that you get. So yeah, I that's the same thing I got out of this one, and sounds like we got the same thing. So
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Anything else that you feel like we missed?
No, I think that kind of sums that one up. I mean, besides, guys, go grab the book and read it yourself. And
Yep.
I mean, and take the time to really listen to what it's saying or pay attention to what you're reading. I think you'll find a lot of good out of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man, for another great chapter chatter, dude. I appreciate it here at the round table. And like, subscribe, share, and give us some feedback. And we appreciate you guys, and catch you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.